Welcome to the Body Project Podcast. I'm your host, Catherine Tanaka, fitness, nutrition, and accountability coach, and the host and producer of this podcast, the Body Project Podcast. Now, typically I interview the top fitness and movement professionals in the industry to talk about their origin story, as well as how they use fitness as just the access point to improve the focus and discipline in their clients' lives that then infiltrate their entire lives, really transforming who they are. In today's episode, I'm interviewing Paul Buceta. So this is an interview that was part of our Frumpy to Fabulous series that I did way back in March with Danae Pierce. Danae was this incredible blossoming flower who won a photo shoot with Paul Buceta. But it really was talking about her journey, about how fitness really gave her access to transforming her entire life. She is such a lovely human being, and she shared her journey of being super shy, overweight, really uncomfortable in her skin, and when she took on fitness, it gave her the courage, it empowered her to become the person she is today, self-expressed, empowered, and really a guiding light for so many women who struggle with their own insecurities in their body, in their mindset, in their limiting beliefs. And so we did a two-part series with her interview and then followed up with Paul Buceta. Paul is the chief resident photographer of Strong Fitness magazine, a women-led magazine that showcases fitness from the lens of women. And so we took a pause on this series because of COVID. Now, even though we are in a new normal and a new way of being, I think this conversation is still relevant. In fact, perhaps more relevant now than ever before, because in the midst of a global pandemic, in the midst of all these tragedies and all these challenges we've been facing because of COVID, I think we need to learn to celebrate the little things in life more now, because we never know what tomorrow brings. One of the things that I have personally learned through COVID is that we can't take anything for granted. And not that I lived a life that I did take things for granted, but that maybe we need to pause in life and celebrate more than before, that we need to take a pause for celebrating the baby steps, all those little things that perhaps we glazed over in the past, and kind of take a look and say, you know what? Let's enjoy the moment. Let's be more present and more aware of how fortunate we are, how much there is to appreciate in the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of fires, in the midst of huge social injustices, right? That maybe we can celebrate those little victories of taking a stand with Black Lives Matter, taking a stand in our health, taking a stand in looking at how comorbidities have plagued our society that now we're seeing, right? With COVID, in fact, comorbidities, people with comorbidities have a higher rate of challenges if they get infected with COVID. And perhaps COVID can be fatal to those with comorbidities, right? And so this conversation is, yes, of how beautiful a fitness photo shoot can be to showcase, to celebrate, to shine brighter for who you are now, but also of how can we take a step forward and celebrate, right? Because oftentimes women especially look to when we will get there to maybe think that we are enough to do that photo shoot. But perhaps we need to take a look at how can we hire people like Paul Buceta now? How can we hire Paul to say, look at where I am, look at where I've been, look at where I'm going? Because once you start celebrating the baby steps, and I talk about this so much in my online programs with my clients and my clients one-on-one, when you start celebrating those baby steps, when you start commemorating the successes you have, part of the journey, then you acknowledge that the journey really is the magic, right? I spoke with this about one of our first podcast episodes over 2 years ago with Angelique Nori, right? The magic in the mundane, right? That it is about the journey. right? And if any of you are marathon runners or triathletes, like when I interviewed Katie Davies out of the Jungle Gym in Tulum, we spoke about that it is about the training. That's where it happens. It's the training for the marathon, training for the Ironman, not just of the day of the marathon or the Ironman, right? That when you celebrate those moments, it is a snapshot, a capture of the journey. And so I welcome you to listen to this interview with different ears about how could you maybe celebrate yourself, and how can you maybe, Paul is this incredible artist, photographer. How can you find ways to be playful in your own life, to find that artistic medium that highlights who you are? And so I hope you enjoy this episode. We've broken it up into 2 episodes, and I'm excited that you're joining us for today's. Paul Buceta is the founder and chief photographer of Strong Fitness Magazine, a magazine designed to motivate, educate, and empower women to achieve a fit lifestyle. Paul has been shooting for over 25 years as a world-renowned fitness photographer, shooting hundreds of magazine covers and thousands of spreads in magazines worldwide, from the likes of Playboy to Maximum Fitness, Oxygen Magazine, just to name a few. Paul puts the fun into fitness and the fabulous into photography. Welcome, Paul, to the Body Project Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us today. The Body Project Podcast is about sharing the origin stories of the impact that fitness has had in the lives of fitness and movement professionals, and why they chose it as a career. I believe that it is through these stories, triumph or challenge, that our listeners can see themselves, see how to transcend life's limits, and pursue their best selves from fitness as the access point. So, Paul, I know that you are not a trainer, but I feel like you are the guy in the fitness industry that has photographed the best physiques in fitness. And I know most recently you founded Strong Fitness Magazine, a magazine created to inspire, educate, and empower women to be fit and strong. So I would love for you to start with that story. Share with us about creating this incredible platform of Strong Magazine.
I used to be the chief photographer at Oxygen Magazine, and after Robert Kennedy's passing, he was the publisher of the magazine. There was a void with its not being on newsstands anymore, and I got together with a few of the people that headed up Oxygen, one of the best editors that they had, in my opinion, as well as the creative director, and we said, hey, let's, now this is an opportunity to take what we think women in fitness level. And one of the differences between Strong Fitness Magazine and the other magazines out on the market was that both the editor and the creator are women. They decide the voice of the magazine and the visual of the magazine, which makes this an actual magazine for women by women, rather than what we've kind of been accustomed up until this point, kind of interpretation of what women in fitness look like by men.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I love the platform that you guys have created. How long have you been running the magazine now, Paul?
We've been, I think it's been 6 years now. 6 years, and we learned a lot along the way, because we weren't in publishing. We were all professionals at what we did, but that didn't include publishing at the time. So, there have been some hurdles, but we're passing with flying colors and going strong.
No pun intended, for sure. If you tuned into last week's episode, you heard Danae Pierce's story of winning not only the Strong Transformation Challenge, but also winning the photo shoot contest with Paul. So for me, Paul, after hearing her story completely by chance, I think you had posted it on your Instagram, I just had to interview her. Because for me, and probably a lot of the fitness professionals that you've worked with, photo shoots is part of the deal of being in fitness, right? From the time I became certified as a trainer in 1999, then stepped on stage in 2007, I think it was, my physical image and capturing that with photo shoots was kind of part of being a trainer and showcasing my physique. But when I heard Danae's story, I was so taken back and inspired by her courage and the impact of not just winning the challenge, but more the impact that the photo shoot had on her life and her self-perception, right? So I would love to know, through your eyes, I guess, the magic you witness every time you shoot with a person who doesn't come from the fitness industry and who comes in kind of probably how Danae came, maybe a little bit timid, maybe insecure, overwhelmed, and how you guide them to almost transmute into a totally different version of themselves?
Well, I've been doing this for, I'm trying to think, 16, 17 years. And it's interesting. Everyone comes in with something a little different. And Danae's story is a little unique because Danae is what I call a 1%er. She came in and she was very shy and a little insecure because, she had lost a lot of weight. She'd had a few kids, so she had loose skin and all that. And, I don't worry about that because I only look at what we can get rather than, what the hurdles are. And so I try not to give any energy to anything other than positive, the positive stuff. But like I said, she's a 1%er. So all of a sudden I said, okay, stand there. Let's take some pictures and see. And I started shooting and she transformed in front of the camera. It was unbelievable. Having said that, when I work with someone, I'm more about enjoying and making sure the model's enjoying the moment, so that we have fun, because the art happens in those moments, holding a pose for a prolonged period and tweaking lights and taking time on everything. I just kind of like to hit the ground running and say, this looks amazing, this looks good, this is great, and everything's very positive. I never say something like, that looks bad on you, don't do that. It's negative. I say, okay, now let's try this. And we just keep improving and improving and improving. And by the end of the shoot, and just about everyone says the same thing. They've had a great time, and it wasn't terrifying at all. In fact, it was one of the best times I had, and they're sad it's over.
Yes, I would agree with that. So Paul is brilliant at what he does, and if you've seen his images, it is clear that he is one of the best in the industry, but this isn't his superpower. His superpower is the magic that he creates for women to see themselves in a light that they've never seen themselves before, uncovering the strong, the empowered, and the confident diva that they are deep inside. Paul sees every woman, every body, like he said, as a beautiful piece of art and captures every single person's incredible uniqueness. I would love for you to kind of share how you grew into this philosophy around your photo shoots, Paul.
Well, different artists have different mediums. Some, let's say, painters, for example, they'll paint in oil. They can draw with pencil, with coal, with pastels, and that. And photographers are kind of the same. And I went from being a photographer that used a complicated light setup to shooting mostly with natural light. And one of the reasons being is that I love capturing subjects in the moment. I love to take images quickly and, I'll take 1,000 images just to make sure just to capture that one moment, rather than, take my time, take a picture, wait for the flash to recycle, take another picture, wait for the flash. I'll literally just be going click, 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 click. And that's where I find the magic.
Okay, I love that. So there's an incredible book by Todd Herman called The Alter Ego Effect. Have you read it?
I'm afraid I haven't.
Oh, it's a fantastic book. But I'll give you a little bit of the premise. So I had the opportunity to see him speak about a year ago. And he tells the story about how he was in the green room ready and waiting to speak on stage. And he was explaining to somebody what he was going to speak about the alter ego effect. And during this time, Bo Jackson was in the room. So as most of us know, Bo Jackson is a famous football and baseball player who's also been known for his all-star status in both games. And after he finished speaking, Bo Jackson came up to Todd Herman and said to him that he totally understands the alter ego effect he speaks about, because he says that the person that Bo Jackson is on the field is not who actually Bo Jackson is. When he goes on the field, he actually transforms into somebody completely different, someone who is cool, calm, collected, and will annihilate anyone in their way. Right? And he says that Bo Jackson growing up was this angry, insecure kid. So he is somebody totally different on the field. So the reason why I bring this up to you, Paul, is because I feel like you create this mindset shift that allows people to show up completely different than they are in front of your camera. I know for me, I always talk about to my clients that it's important to live into who they want to be, becoming the person that they desire through fitness and healthy habits. And I feel like you you do this with your camera, that you are the catalyst for people to show up and become this heightened version, this alter ego of themselves. So I would love to know what you see as possible in self-expression when people actually take the leap and shoot with you.
It's really fascinating because I don't even know how it happens, but it always happens when we shoot, that the energy levels go through the roof. It's always wow, look at this. We show the image, we high five, we say, okay, let's do some more. Let's get some more of that. And it's like, let's go back. Let's get more apart. Let's go back. Let's get more. And it's constantly kind of improving. And I always say to people, if it feels silly, you're doing it right. Because oftentimes for someone, for example, let's say that can't sing very well, is definitely afraid of karaoke. And I say that because I can't sing very well, and I'm definitely afraid of karaoke. Okay. But, it's like if someone else and said, no, don't worry. If it sounds terrible, I guarantee you it'll be incredible. And I said, okay, sure, watch, I'll show you. And I do it, and all of a sudden I sound amazing. Now I'm absolutely confident that in my singing ability, and I'm going to sing my heart out. And that's kind of what happens with images, because I'll show them the pictures, and almost everyone says, wow, I can't believe that's me. And it's like, yeah, more. And now they're comfortable. Now they're actually throwing themselves more into the work. And it really helps kind of elevate who they normally are. It's kind of like the supermodel that they see on the internet saying, wow, this is me now. Look at me go. And because it's a very kind of encouraging and a high five type environment, it's kind of like they're doing it for me and they're doing it for themselves. It's kind of like we're doing this as a team, and the final images always look amazing.
Always look amazing. And I mean, I can speak from experience, having shot with you, I think 3 times now. It is truly a magical experience. And, I've shot with other photographers, but you have this unique approach to it. And like you said, it's about how can we just up level you and create that kind of alter ego effect so that people can show up best. I really appreciate that about you. And that's why I really wanted to interview you and kind of share, I guess, that side of it, right? Because even me, having had done many shoots before, going into, your studio, new photographer, it is intimidating nonetheless. So I think that you have this wonderful playfulness and professionalism that really speaks volume to those shots that you get. So I really commend you for that, Paul. On our last series, I interviewed Kristen Crowley and Jill Bunny on their new business venture, Reframe. And we spoke about how photo shoots are for everyone an amazing experience. And yes, it is a snapshot in time, but in fact, it is the most beautiful glimpse and representation of somebody's journey wherever they are. Jill was actually telling me about one of her participants that's coming on an upcoming retreat that is in her mid-60s, Paul. And she shared that this woman wanted to capture exactly where she was at that moment in time. Because wherever you are, guys, all of you listening, wherever you are is exactly where you are, and it's perfect where you are. So I wanted to bring this up because for those of you who are contemplating wanting to do a photo shoot, but it is someday when I'm fitter or fit enough phenomena, I want to challenge you to take a look at how magical booking a fitness photo shoot with Paul can be in your life now. And so, Paul, I would love for you to kind of share with those listening today, men or women, but you specialize in photographing women. What would you say to those who secretly desire to shoot with you, but are kind of stuck?
Well, it's tricky because I know better, you know better, and everyone else that has actually done the shot, the photo shoot knows. Why did I wait? Why did a lot of the things that you're worried about are things that you don't actually need to worry about. It's actually kind of remarkable. And a lot of people that see my work think, oh, well, I'm not a model. That's, people that have either, done a transformation or want to kind of challenge themselves, like skydiving or, I don't know, going swimming with dolphins or do something that's kind of, life-changing. This could be one of those things. And it does take a little bit of courage to take that step and say, okay, screw it, I'm gonna book it. I'm gonna see can be. And that's one of the things that for me is the most important thing of all. And doing a photo shoot doesn't necessarily mean that you have to put your images on the internet.
Right.
It's about, and I say this, I think every woman should experience how beautiful they are capable of being. Because the majority of the women I shoot are mostly mothers that are, don't wear makeup very often, the hair is tied back, running to soccer practices, school drop-offs, and making lunches. So, being sexy is not something that's on the regular schedule.
Right.
So this is a real vacation from your day-to-day. And it really is life-changing. I can't describe it any other way. There's life before the shoot, and then there's life after the shoot, and you will see yourself differently after the shoot.
Yes, I think you've put it perfectly, Paul. And, on that note, you don't just create the experience of like a one-on-one shoot, right? If that is intimidating, you do offer experiences of going away for the weekend or going away for the week, whether it's in Vegas or in the Caribbean, that you do offer group shoots, which is really different experience, but beautiful nonetheless, because it does give you the camaraderie of the community of women that oftentimes are so similar, like you said, working moms that are just trying to live their best version. Again, it doesn't have to be this portfolio that you post online, but really it is for yourself to self-express, to show your personal growth, to celebrate, because I really believe in celebrating your successes. And sometimes it's just even that, right? Your success of saying yes to yourself. You are worth and you are good enough to do a shoot exactly where you are now, and taking that leap. So I will include all those details in the show notes so that you can book your shoot with Paul. There you have it, an incredible interview with Paul Buceta. We didn't have the opportunity to do video. Our Wi-Fi bandwidth when we did the interview back 6 months ago was a little choppy, so I hope that was okay for you. And I loved what he finished off with, saying that everyone should get the opportunity to know how beautiful they are. And so I'd like to put that to you, whether it is a photo shoot or really working on your mindset so that you know that you are enough just as you are, that you can shine and be beautiful regardless of where you are in your own fitness and health journey. I love Paul's philosophy and his method to bring these beautiful images and capturing literally every shape, size, color, gender, and bringing it to the cover, whether it's Strong Fitness magazine, Indie Very magazine, or any other global magazines he is published in. So I invite you to ask yourself the question, would a fitness photo shoot or just a photo shoot to capture where you are in your life be of benefit to you, be empowering to you, allow you to step outside of yourself, outside of your shell, because this isn't a dress rehearsal. This is our one chance to live the life that we love, to live the life that we were brought here to do, right? And this is not to say that every journey is roses and sunshines and unicorns and rainbows. It isn't, right? But I believe that every life should be celebrated. Every journey that you take should be celebrated the way that you are. Thank you, as always, for joining me. We release a new episode week after week, and make sure you join us next week as we finish this conversation with Paul. And wherever you are watching, listening, enjoying this episode, I would love for you to rate, review, and subscribe. It allows me to get a pulse on if my conversations are landing with you. As always, thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.